Minnesota Vikings need to have all options on the table when it comes to the contract of starting quarterback Kirk Cousins, either trading him, straight up cutting him, and eating that $41 million in dead cap spread out over 2 seasons, or going full Osweiler on the bid. You never go full Osweiler. Yes, you do. Yes, you do in this situation. And because I don't think the Vikings could swing any real draft capital trade for Kirk, like we outlined in the potential Cowboys trade, is like, all right, so Kirk, and then we'll swap 6-round picks. Yeah, something pretty negligible because he's 33 years old and also has severely regressed. Sorry, 33 years old next year. Don't want to be ageist here. But he's also severely regressed. He had his best year of his career last season under Kevin Stefanski. This year, 10 picks. Really? Cool. Plus, if teams do have some shred of interest in him, they could just wait until the Vikings have to make a decision and potentially cut Kirk Cousins before March. Because the way we've explained it before, Kirk Cousins' contract is structured, he's going to either be a Viking for 2 more years or 0 more years because of that $35 million fully guaranteed 2022 base salary that kicks in if he's on the roster the third day of the new league year 2021. So next March, Vikings will have to make a decision. So the Vikings could and should have the option of going full nuclear, going full Osweiler on his deal. So recapping what that means. So Osweiler, the trade of him from the Texans to the Browns was the first of its kind in the NFL. It happens all the time in the NBA. Basically, you're swapping assets for a salary dump from the other team. So in March 2017, the Texans, who had just signed Osweiler to a 4-year, $72 million deal in the 2016 offseason. So they traded Brock and a 2nd-round pick, 6th-round pick for the Browns' 4th-rounder. So I know what you're saying. Those don't add up. Basically, the Texans traded superior draft capital to the Browns to dump his salary. They saved $10 million in cap space, and it's awesome. Like, it was a Sashi Brown special. R.I.P. Sashi. Pouring one out for him with the Browns front office. But for the Vikings, it may take more than that to get Kirk off the books because he's $21 million in 2021 and $35 million in 2022 if the team doesn't just cut Kirk Cousins as soon as they get that contract in hand, which it certainly could do. So basically, they would be spending $21 million to acquire, say, a 3rd-round pick from the Vikings, because that's the bottom line. If you, as a Vikings fan, if you were in charge, if you were Rick Spielman or whoever GM TBD is going to be, would you trade a 3rd-round pick for $21 million in cap space next year? A lot of things you could do with it. You could extend Brian O'Neill. You could sign free agent offensive lineman. Joe Thuney's going to be a free agent again. Right. So the Vikings could go down that route. So now, looking at who would be the Osweiler candidates, take a look at 2021 and 2022 cap space. So the most obvious would be the Jets, although they'll likely end up with Trevor Lawrence. Ownership did have interest in Kirk Cousins the first time around in free agency 2018. The Jets have $81.9 million in cap space next year, a $142.6 in 2022. Numbers are really whatever, since all these teams obviously have enough space next year as well as 2022, because then you have the Jaguars, Colts, Broncos, and Cowboys, who it could be twofold, where they could get the extra draft pick, they could take on the salary, no problem, as well as potentially use Kirk as a starter, paired up with a rookie TBD, especially with the Jaguars, Colts, and Broncos, especially if the Broncos aren't sold on Drew Lock. And also, why would you be? And then also you have the Patriots. Man, so I can't with this one. So this would be the ultimate Belichick FU to the league, mic drop, walk off, where it's like, hey, well, yeah, no, Tom Brady's, but I'm going to win a Super Bowl with Kirk effing Cousins as my quarterback and just drop the mic and then walk off into the sunset with 7 rings, one of them with Kirk Cousins. Woo! Get it. Washington. So this one's interesting. Washington would be absolutely delicious, given his history there, even though Daniel Snyder, the only guy that Daniel Snyder never threw stupid money at was Kirk Cousins. So maybe not, but I don't know. And then also the Bengals would be a pure salary dump because they got Joe Burrow under center. If the Bengals went that route, I could see them just taking the 3rd and then cutting Kirk right away and then eating the $21 million cap hit for next year. So they basically just bought a 3rd-round pick. Browns, I mean, maybe, Stefanski entrenched there. Kirk obviously had his best season with Stefanski last year, but also that I think it's more likely now because OBJ's 2021 salary is now guaranteed before it was only injury guaranteed. But all options need to be on the table. And as the season progresses and it's clearer and clearer that Kirk Cousins is not that guy, I don't think that they could straight up trade him for assets. Straight up cutting him, it's a little bit unpalatable because, like we said, $41 million dead over the next 2 seasons, $31 million if he's a post-June 1st cut designation next year alone. But this dump option, I think it should be on the table because even though it sucks parting with a 3rd-round pick, especially when the Vikings don't have a 2nd-round pick, but if the Vikings are racking up and stacking up other trade assets, maybe they dump Riley Reif, maybe they trade Anthony Harris before the deadline this year, maybe they trade Kyle Rudolph, maybe they move other assets in the offseason, then also pair that with compensatory picks that the Vikings are going to be in line to get. So all of a sudden that doesn't look so terrible. Right, and just getting that $21 million off the books for next year frees up what the Vikings can do in free agency, and also if you're going to be drafting a rookie quarterback who's going to be your future guy anyway, he's going to be on his rookie deal, so that salary cap is less important. So, man, it's rough, but as of right now, I would do it. 3rd-round pick for $21 million in cap relief next year. Why the hell not? But your thoughts? Could the Vikings Osweiler Kirk Cousins? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. While support that work, post on the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.